Hi everyone, welcome back to Runs and Acceleration with Ruhan and Akash. We've not done a cricket podcast in a little while, so now we're getting back into it. Since we have a really exciting series coming up between India and Sri Lanka. We've got a T20 and an ODI series. It's 3 matches each, and I think let's get straight into it about what
Absolutely.
we think about the teams, what we think about the setup. So just for some context, first of all, I'll start it off, and then Ruhan can kind of continue with it, with
hmm
talking about the teams and everything like that. But just for some context, right now the Indian team is sort of split into two divisions in a sense like that. Our
Absolutely.
we have our test team that's right now in England. Unfortunately, they lost the World Test Championship to a very, very well deserved win to New Zealand. They did a great job. Almost outplayed India on those in that test match. But now they move on to the upcoming England series that's going to be coming up. So there's going to be preparation for that in the test series. So we've got the test team in one side, but then we've got the our T20 and ODI team that is in a sense more of our B team. We've got younger players. We've got a few experienced players on there who are not very seasoned test players. So they're going to be they. This is a lot of the people that have been picked here have been rewarded for doing great performances in the IPL and other
IPL.
performances. So I think it's very interesting to look at the dynamic right now of the
Absolutely.
Indian cricket team.
So I think to start off, firstly, it's not to be considered a B team. There's been a lot of talk about the fact that including the Sri Lankan captain from the 1996 World Cup, Mr. Anatunga, has said in an article and in a couple of interviews that Sri Lanka must have lost their dignity to play with a second string Indian team coming to Sri Lanka.
Yep.
But I don't think I agree with this.
Hmm.
Firstly, our captain and vice captain have been part of the Indian setup for almost a decade. They played in
Hmm.
the World Cups and everything.
Yep.
Um, and all of these guys, I know there's going to be at least 5 or 6 debuts that are going to be happening, but it's very important to realize India is one team that has, for almost more than a decade now, been able to field more than two teams at a moment's notice.
Yep.
And with the way international cricket is progressing at the moment and with the bio bubbles on traveling, they aren't the
Hmm.
only ones doing this. England did the same where they were playing a test series with New Zealand,
Yep.
and there was a separate team which was playing T20s in England itself. So I think
Hmm.
this might also be an interesting phase in cricket as we might move from the norm of one particular Indian or international cricket team into teams for each tour.
Hmm.
So you'll have a specialized test tour team or a specialized team for the big tours versus youngsters getting a chance, as in this case with
Hmm.
the Sri Lanka tour. So now that we look at let's get into teams, right? So, uh, what are your thoughts on our opening batsmen? Because seems like we have quite a few of them. I'm just going to
Yep.
name a couple, and then maybe you can step in with that.
Hmm.
So Dhawan is obviously our captain, should be
Yep.
playing every game.
Hmm.
Um, we also have Padikkal, who's been rewarded for his great performances in Vijay Hazare as well as the IPL so far.
Hmm.
Prithvi Shaw, ever since he got dropped from the Indian side, he's been trying to get back with a vengeance.
Yep.
Um, you also have Sky, who's normally going to play one down, two down. But
Hmm.
then you also have Rituraj Gaikwad, who played amazing games for Chennai, as well as who else do we have now? So there's
Nitish Rana,
Padikkal, Nitish Rana, and Sanju
Ishan
Samson and
Kish,
Ishan
and
Kishan,
Ishan
who
Kishan.
also opens
Yep.
or bats in the top three. So
Hmm.
too many
Yeah.
openers?
This I think it's for me. I think you actually can't go wrong with the openers, really, because I think that's the brilliant thing about it is that you have such a diverse kind of selection of openers, and all with different kinds of styles. Some play quite aggressive in the beginning. Some want to consolidate a little bit, kind of see off that new ball a little bit, and then start to build up their innings. So I think that you have good options in both. But my ODI squad, I'll just say from so I have Shikhar Dhawan, of course, he's captain. Then we have I've gone with Devdutt Padikkal actually.
Okay.
Maybe could be a little bit of controversy there, but I've gone with then
Two
Surya.
two lefty openers for
Yeah,
India.
yeah, That
Interesting.
never happens. Yeah. I've gone with Surya Kumar Yadav at coming at three. I've gone with Manish Pandey, bringing in his experience at four. Also could bring a little bit of controversy for that. Five, I've gone with Sanju Samson. He's also going to be a wicket keeper for us. Then we've
Hmm.
got Hardik Pandya, Krunal Pandya. I've gone with Rahul Chahar, the leg spinner. Bhuvneshwar Kumar, the vice captain. Deepak Chahar. And then I've picked this is a little bit more complicated, but I've gone in
Hmm.
with Kuldeep Yadav as my final bowler.
Very interesting. That's very
Very
interesting.
mhm.
For me, first up the change would be with Dhawan. I'd stick to a right-left combination,
Mhm.
not because of right-left or two lefties, but just because I feel Gaikwad has done a lot to deserve a place in the side.
Yep.
So I'd pick Gaikwad as the second opener.
Mhm.
It's interesting, neither of us picked Prithvi Shaw, but I think we have our reasons for that, which we can
Yep.
explain after this. One down Sky seems pretty much confirmed, and Manish Pandey at two down. He's the most experienced, middle order player. So I
Mhm.
think it's important to have him there. Yep, again Sanju at three, but you can also throw a punt on a particular day and play Ishan Kishan instead of Sanju because they're both keeper batsmen,
Yep.
depending on what you need.
Mhm.
Both Pandya brothers, yes, I'm a little reluctant to pick Krunal, I'll be honest, but you kind of have to play him.
Yep.
The biggest issue is Hardik is playing as a pure batsman in this tour. He is
Yes.
not bowling.
Mhm.
He's still,
Yeah.
there's no idea of him bowling, and I don't think he's going to be stretching
Mhm.
10 over spells. He
Yep.
might bowl in the T20 series for 4 overs, but not other than
Yep.
that.
Mhm.
And then we have after eight, I wouldn't want to play Kulcha, so I'll go with Rahul Chahar. Um, then I'll go with Deepak Chahar, Bhuvi, and I actually want to pick Sakaria instead
Mhm. Yep.
and give him a chance.
I think your team. First of all, I think the team that you've picked is really really good. I think it's a very strong team.
Hmm.
Where I think maybe for me, I think is that really that opener with Rituraj Gaikwad. I think for me, why I'll give a defense for Devdutt Padikkal is I think the one thing is what I've noticed with Padikkal is that, especially in the IPL, is that he's someone that's gonna be there. I've seen him play for. He'll be there until the 15th over. He will be there for some time. And I think that's what you need in a T20 in a
True.
T in not just in a T20 setup, but in an ODI setup. You need people that are gonna stay there. Got Dhawan who's got so much experience and actually going to be asked quite a bit to do a lot as an opener because you are going to be playing with someone who doesn't have that much of ODI experience per se. So I think it's very very important that they pick an opener that's going to work best with them. And I think that when you see the combinations, I did take right, left, and right as an idea, but I thought that just purely off the openers, I think it's important that you reward sometimes based off past performances. And I think Devdutt has done great. Rituraj has been fantastic, but I still think that if anything, he would probably be more good for the T20 setup. That's just my personal opinion, but definitely, I think if they picked Rituraj, I don't think I would see much of a problem with it. Yeah.
Hmm. So then I'd go to the fact that why have you not picked Prithvi Shaw as your preferred opener for the ODIs?
Um. Look, I am a massive fan of Prithvi Shaw, but I think he's a T20 player, and that's really really like hard. I think that's I don't want to say insulting because he's a Mumbai player. Mumbai player, it's all about over your dead body. You're playing time. You're not playing
You
any
score
like
big
that.
runs or you go home,
Yeah, exactly
basically.
like that. It's you know he's always someone that scored big and done great, especially as a
Yeah.
younger kid. But now he's definitely much more. He's a little bit older, a little bit more, and has a lot more, riding on him. I think that from from probably an Indian standpoint, they might go with Prithvi Shaw, but I still feel he'd be best for a T20 setup just because I'm just looking at how good he was in the IPL. He was ridiculous. I remember. I don't know which team he was going up against. I think he hit someone for six fours in a row and an
Mavi.
over. Mavi, yeah, against KKR. I was. like those kinds of things is what you need from from a like from the any from that
Absolutely.
kind of flamboyant T20 opener. And maybe he doesn't consider himself to be a flamboyant opener, but he really is. He's someone
He
who
is.
does go for those kind of shots that maybe are just pushing it a little bit, but that's okay in T20 cricket.
And they're
I
not
think.
always fun to look at, but
Hmm.
they get you the results. So initially, when he came in onto the scene, it was like he was being compared to Tendulkar with his stance, that
Yep.
kind of height. He had the same MRF bat, very similar stance and all that. But with time, I think people realize if he's similar to anyone, he's more similar to a Sehwag than he is to a Tendulkar,
Yeah.
because his one weakness, which I think Sri Lanka can exploit quite easily, is his lack of footwork. It's a
Yep.
lot of hand-eye coordination, and when you go to Sri Lanka, Sehwag struggled with this initially as well. There'll be a lot of spin, and you really need to make sure your foot movement
Hmm.
is there with spin.
Yep.
He played that famous 200 against Sri Lanka when Ajanta Mendes ran through the Indian order.
Yep.
But the thing is, he was in a very different league and with a very different understanding of the game than
Hmm.
Prithvi Shaw has now.
Yep.
And I don't think in a small ODI series, it's not five, it's only three. I
Yep.
don't think you want to be risking him losing his confidence that he's
Yep.
gained over the IPL by
Hmm.
making him play out of his comfort zone, which is try and be there at the end of the 20th over.
Yeah.
Yes,
Hmm.
I understand he outscored Devdutt Padikkal as the highest scorer in Vijay Hazare with 800 runs, scored two double centuries or
Yep.
one and 180 something. But you have to realize he didn't last very long in those innings. So
Hmm.
it really depends. He can click and get a 70 ball 100 and then just blast from there.
Hmm.
But he also might just get a 10 ball 20 and get out.
See, I think that you make a really good point, because what my concern is, say if they're playing, both Prithvi and Shikhar, they have a good understanding. Definitely, they play with each other in Delhi. Say if Shikhar gets out early, and then Surya Kumar comes in. If a few wickets, can happen, and we've seen, Indian collapses many, many,
Absolutely.
many
Many
times.
times. And
We
especially in
need,
Sri Lanka, quite a few times.
yeah, and we need, and we know, I mean, Sri Lanka pitches, they're going to be similar to Indian pitches, of course, but we never know what could happen. We could just have a very some crazy day out or something like that. We need that support from Prithvi Shaw, and I think it's a little bit. I don't want to say it's not even premature. I just don't think it's there. I just don't think it's going to be there, that he's going to be playing that kind of anchoring role. If anything, I feel his
Absolutely.
best position is to be there up at the playing in the T20, being there up at the top, scoring for us quickly and everything like that. If he gets out early, great. He's probably made a quick 40, 50, whatever already. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because I think you said a good thing there, playing the anchor role. I think this could be the series. You might not see Shikhar play the anchor role like he normally does.
Yeah.
He might take back to the form he was in his prime, which was the 2013
Oh yeah.
Champions Trophy.
Hmm.
And a couple of years after that, when among the opening partnership of Rohit and Shikhar, Shikhar was always the aggressor. He
Yep.
was scoring at a strike rate of 100 and above. And recently in the IPL, I've seen strokes of that kind of cricketer back, that kind of Shikhar Dhawan back, because in the middle, he'd become really circumspect of his
Hmm.
shots. He'd
Yeah.
become tied down with a lot of bowling. He's coming back. So this might be a tour for him to really let free
Yep.
and, express himself even
Yep.
as a captain, because sometimes that helps.
Hmm.
Moving on to the lower part of the order,
Hmm.
I think a big disappointment for Shreyas Iyer. I think he could have
Yeah.
properly been the captain for this
Yep.
tour. He's been amazing for India last few years.
Yep.
And it's just how luck is sometimes.
Hmm.
But then maybe we wouldn't have gotten to see Sanju and Sky in the team.
Yeah.
Big opportunity for Sanju because he's played a couple of matches here and there, but he's always been fighting for his spot, as they say.
I think the biggest thing for Sanju is the word is consistency. He just needs to develop that. I
Absolutely.
think if he can be there, performing from, I mean, at least giving them runs and at least playing whatever that role may be, because I think I think what he's going to be batting at is at five, and especially in the ODIs, and that could be, and I think five in ODIs you have an interesting role. You sort of will come in the 40th over. And there's that thing about, that famous thing of you pull the trigger too fast. You try to go,
Absolutely.
you try to play too aggressively. I think that's one thing that we don't want to see from him is, just kind of go at 100 miles per hour like that straight away. And we need I think he needs to get that thing of, let me get a few out of the middle, let me get my good shots first, and then let me go and play that finishing role, which I think, him, Hardik, and Krunal, they can do really, really well. It's all about how, I think, if he can apply himself really well. Sounds
Absolutely.
cliche, but no, I think this is a great opportunity, but also I just feel that this
It's
that
almost an ultimatum.
yeah, it's exactly that, because he also has to understand that if this doesn't work out, they've got a, a really, really proper replacement in Ishan Kishan, who I think will definitely play one game at least in the ODIs, and should play one game at least, because I think they should see that what he's really good. What I think maybe doesn't get talked about a lot about Ishan Kishan is actually that he does take the time. He used to be a very hot-headed player where he would go
Yes.
strike from ball one, but then, especially in the 2020 IPL season, he started taking those 10, 15 balls just to get himself set,
Where his
feel
strike rate is
comfortable.
normally like less than not only 100, he's like striking at
Yeah.
50, 60, but he takes the time just to get used to the pitch,
Mhm.
to the ball, to the spin,
Yep.
and then he opens up.
Yep. No, and I think that's very, very specific, because in the Mumbai Indians setup, you've got guys like Robin Singh, Mahela Jayawardena. That's how they naturally play. They like to read the conditions, and that's what they always
Absolutely.
tell them: read the conditions, then go for your shots. I was remembering, the back in the 2011 World Cup when Jayawardena hit that century against India in the final. I mean,
Absolutely.
in the beginning, he was looking pretty slow, but then he
Scratchy.
started. Then he found all of his shots, because he started exploiting. He found his strokes, even though it was a losing knock. It was still
It was one of the
really
best knocks
brilliant.
I've seen in the World
Yeah,
Cup
it was
final. Yes.
brilliant, because he played the conditions to a T. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's what they say, right? Again, a cliche saying, but no matter what kind of form you're in, just stay at the crease.
Yep.
Just stay at the crease, keep playing, and the scoreboard will keep ticking.
Mhm.
Numerous times you've heard that. And speaking of coaches, this time we have probably, this is the first time I think there's more talk about the Indian coach and more fanfare for the Indian coach than
Yep.
the team, because
Yep.
it's Rahul Dravid is going as the coach finally.
I think for every fan, it just puts a smile on their face, because, I mean, the thing is, people think. I mean, maybe this might be, if you don't follow a lot of Indian cricket, this might feel, oh, Dravid's coming to set up. Oh, I didn't know that. Like, oh yeah, it's like, so, like, oh yeah, why don't we get all the former players to come into a
Absolutely.
coaching setup? But I think one thing we have to credit with Rahul Dravid is that he's done so much for Indian cricket with the under-19 program, has been
India
guiding, like,
A.
yeah, guiding India A to so much success. So I think I'm really looking forward to this, because he's worked with every single one of these players before. He understands the
Absolutely.
setup. This is not nothing foreign to him. So I'm quite excited. And also, I don't want to say this, but we'll get to this point more about how they're going up against Sri Lanka. But I think this is a great opportunity with them, where there shouldn't be a lot of pressure on him. And I mean, knowing Rahul
Absolutely.
Dravid, there's never that. He looks always calm and control of everything. Yeah.
Because I think some people might not know this, even those who've read about his involvement after retirement. I think it's really important to credit him as probably, I would say, the biggest servant to the game of Indian cricket, not just as a player, but afterwards, because he instantly went into, he was offered to play more, IPL roles, but he said, no, I want to focus on development of our young
Yep.
players. So he
Hmm.
became part of the National Cricket Academy. And over the years, he's the one who started to tell the teams, let's play more India A tours. So
Yep.
that because there's so many cricketers of international quality on your payroll, give them their livelihood, give them a little bit of money, not as much as the international cricketers, but let them earn their living and also get to practice their craft. So he organized tours to England, to Australia, to South Africa, and obviously under 19 World Cup. Under him, we reached the finals, we won. um, so I think the biggest servant for Indian cricket and one of the most I think he's probably had the biggest fanfare
Yep.
as a cricketer post retirement, even more than Sachin, just
Hmm.
because of what he's been able to do. Sachin has his own restrictions because the name sometimes gets a bit too big. But
Yeah.
I think, yeah, that's why for Rahul, it's
Hmm.
great opportunity. We love seeing him there, maybe someday as the Indian coach as well, properly.
Yep.
And now let's move on to the department where there seems to be a little bit of trouble, which
Yep.
is the bowlers.
Bowling. Yeah.
Doesn't seem to have a lot of variety to the attack.
I think they've that India's missed a trick here. I think that they've definitely there's some players that I think that should have been included, which I was kind of surprised that they did not include. And we'll get to that later. But I think one thing I know I said Kuldeep Yadav on my team, and you said Chetan Sakaria. But I think why I went with Kuldeep is like, what I'm really thinking is, do we really need that third pacer on a Sri Lanka wicket? And I would say not really. Just because I think that if with Kuldeep, I think he's is the best opportunity for him to get back that sort of confidence. Some sort of confidence back. I know that he's definitely been rattled quite a bit with everything that's been
Yeah.
how he's had some very very poor performances, but I think that with especially you're going to experience turning wickets, it's maybe a little bit slower wickets in Sri Lanka. This is a good opportunity for him to come into the attack. But I think the problem for me is more than the spin department. I'm really worried about this pace bowling department. I think we've got, I think it's Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Deepak Chahar, Chetan Sakaria, and
Saini and
Navdeep
Chakaria.
Singh.
That's it.
Navdeep Singh. Those are just pure bowlers. It's only four. And seriously, I don't think that's enough. I think that puts a lot of pressure on Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Deepak Chahar.
Who's very injury prone, by the way.
Yep. And if I mean, it really could happen if Bhuvi picks up an injury in that first game or something like that, has a little bit of a niggle. I don't want to say, but the bowling takes a severe a severe drop.
Absolutely.
Sorry, yeah, severe drop in the quality. So that's why I think it's quite concerning in that sense. And I think where I was mentioning before, where India missed a trick was with the bowling. I think someone who would have been almost I think someone who really deserves to be there, and I'm questioning why he wasn't there is and also because
Hmm.
he's worked. I thought he's worked with Dravid, he's worked with all these people. I thought he would definitely be considered was Arshdeep Singh. He plays for Kings 11,
Interesting. Yeah,
Punjab Kings right now.
absolutely.
He's also a left-hander, so it brings up a little bit of a different combination. And the thing is, he's not a quick bowler. Maybe he's not. I don't think he's like people look at him as a threat sometimes, but I think I think
But that's the
in
beauty of it. Even in the
exactly.
IPL, they didn't look at him as a threat, and he was able to get those wickets because they underestimated him.
And not
Um,
only if he doesn't pick up wickets, he'll be bowling the toughest of toughest overs at the end. I know KL
exactly.
Rahul will go to him, and then he'll deliver. I've actually not seen the guy really properly fail when the pressure has really been on him. So my question is to you is I don't know why would you leave him out actually? Yeah.
My question to the selectors is why was Bhuvi not part of the WTC final?
Yeah.
You're playing in England, the place where the ball swings more than anywhere else, and we took all our seaming options.
Yeah.
Not a single bowler who can. Yes, Shami is a great, reverse swing bowler, but none of them are natural swing bowlers. The only natural swing bowler, Bhuvi, didn't play.
Hmm.
Siraj, who also can swing it a bit, didn't play. So I think selection, it's always been a part of the Indian folklore of cricket, which
Yeah.
is what the hell are the selectors doing? It's a very common question.
Yeah.
Here, I think, again, there's been a few mistakes because also, why pay Krishnappa Gautam?
Yeah.
He went for a big purse at the IPL auction, but honestly, I don't think that was justified either. His domestic performances haven't been stellar by any means,
Hmm.
and his last two IPLs have been subpar,
Mm.
at least.
I would even go almost as that I seriously am trying to go back and to see what he did in IPL, and I think when he was part of that Rajasthan Royals setup with Krishnappa Gautam and Shreyas Gopal, that was a decent combination, but still
Which is my
at the
question: why not Shreyas Gopal?
yeah
instead. He's had better seasons and he's
Yeah.
known to take bigger wickets than Krishnappa Gautam ever has.
I, to be honest, I don't have an answer for that. I really don't know why, because it's sometimes, I mean, you were just saying before, we don't know sometimes what the selectors are thinking, and we question that a lot. But I think with the Krishnappa Gautam thing, in a very honest sense, from I'm trying to look at it as from the best point of view. I think that if you have Hardik and Krunal playing, um, essentially going to have to play every single game, in my opinion. I think they're going to have to really play every single game because they need those all rounders that are going to strengthen the middle, that are going to strengthen the lower middle order, and that fifth and sixth bowling option. But what I really think is that I hate to say this, but I think because Krishna Gautam he was the highest paid Indian player on
There
the
must be
auction.
something behind it.
There could be something like that. It's something that I hope it's not the case, but it really does look like that. But at the same time, I'm really trying to think, who else are proper options and all rounders. Not that many in Indian cricket, and I think that's where I think Indian cricket lacks a lot is with proper all rounders. There was some people who were saying, "Oh, Hardik should have been included in the test in the test setup against England in the series that's coming up again in August." But I don't know. It's all very complicated because that doesn't really, because Hardik's not bowling. He's,
Absolutely.
in the bat, he can be a little bit temperamental at times, has struggled with the short ball, all those kinds of
And
things.
ever
And
since his comeback, even in the previous tour where England toured India, he
yeah,
really struggled in the T20s. Once they started bowling bouncers short of a good length and just took the pace off, he didn't really have an idea how to get around that.
yeah,
And he didn't do anything in the IPL either.
yeah. I think it's a question that I think we're gonna see, but I think the one thing is this, that we'll just have to see how this series pans out. I think also we have to understand that it's now I think this is a good way to talk about a little bit more about Sri Lanka and the opposition, because
Yes.
this is really just almost in a sense just trying to find our best combination for that T20 World Cup that's coming later on in the year. So I think looking at Sri Lanka right now, I don't know where to start. I think it's in a sense I think it's really sad because you've had some of the greatest cricketers that we've ever seen. Kumar Sangakkara, Jayawardene, Muridharan,
Jay
Jay Surya, Aravinda De Silva, all some of the
Lasith
great.
Malinga.
Yeah, how can I forget Lasit Malinga? Yeah, some of the greatest players, and now we're kind of left with a squad that is, I don't even know, I don't know what they're rebuilding or anything like that, but this rebuilding has been going on now for.
Actually, yeah, I have something to add on that because I was reading an article which said that five of the players, like Lahiru Kumara and other players like that, they've refused to sign contracts to play for the central team
Wow.
because there's no clarity on the pay scales. Like India has a very clear pay scale, and we all get to know
Yeah,
how much each player is getting paid by the central contract.
yeah,
There's no information what they'll get paid. And I think it's becoming a very similar situation, if you remember, which has been going on with the West Indies team,
hmm,
which is why will the top players of the country be motivated to represent the side when they don't even know if they're going to get paid, let alone what they're getting paid, because
yeah,
that's been a problem for a
hmm,
long time. And they'd rather just go and play T20 series because the current tour, for those who might not know this, Sri Lanka just finished a tour in England, and they didn't have many of their standard players because there's been an announcement that they want to rebuild their team from the ground up. So no
hmm,
more Matthews or Chandimal. They want to get new players in, and they've said that we will need a few years, so don't expect much from us. But the Sri Lanka tour was anything but encouraging.
yeah,
Um, they lost the T20 series really badly, couldn't even score at 6 runs and over.
yeah,
Uh, I think you remember this. There was a guy named Fernando playing one down, and he played 20 balls, and every single ball he just went for a cow corner shot, didn't
yeah.
really score much. And I remember
Like
it saying
almost
on CricBuzz,
abysmal batting
yeah,
performances. Yeah,
I read the CricBuzz, and it said that this is probably the most abysmal batting we've ever seen in a T20 game.
yeah,
And even in the ODIs, all three games except Dhananjay De Silva, who's a proven test player, everyone else just felt like a pack of cards. Not even batting 40 overs and not scoring more than 150 runs. So it's really sad. And to top it all off, three of the more experienced players like Dikwela, Thiramane were caught smoking and breaking the bio bubble
Yep.
in the UK and sent immediately back. And so
Yep.
they're not part of the team there. And
The
similarly, they're not going to be playing.
ban for 1 year. Yep.
Banned for 1 year. So I don't know what's happening with Sri Lanka, but
I
it
mean,
doesn't look like good signs.
I mean, I'm trying to look at it from a Sri Lanka perspective. I mean, like first of all, I think the players who are breaching these protocols, I don't know what they're thinking. Maybe they're thinking, you know what? It's like we're that much down in the deep. I couldn't care less. And if that's the mentality, I think I'm seriously worried about Sri Lanka because I think I think Sri Lanka is almost coming to that point where they are almost on that same level as coming in like closer to like that's the next division, like the Irelands, the Scotlands,
Yeah.
the Zimbabwe, those kind of things. And it's super unfortunate because I don't think I would ever think Sri Lanka would come there, even if you had um some of the kind of standard players that you keep on seeing. But now I think that you have these players who with all these kinds of pay scale issues, they might not want to play. So you have this issue. You have those three players that broke the COVID protocols and the bubble. So essentially now Sri Lanka is going in with in almost another B team, and I think a B team Sri Lanka is just is I don't know what, I have no idea what it could be. I think it could be, and
The
I
only
think it could be
interesting
really
part
really bad for
and
them.
the only advantage I see for Sri Lanka is the fact that they're playing so many players that we've not heard of or not seen a lot of, that there's no real video coverage on them, because a lot
Yep.
of cricket now is video analysis of each player, weaknesses,
Yes.
strengths, bowling lines, and all. There's really no research on them because you haven't really seen them at all. And it's not like they were told that they were going to play soon, or there were articles about, oh, these are the upcoming players. No, it's just suddenly they've taken a decision that, you know what, enough is enough. Our
Mm-hmm.
current players are not performing. We're just going to rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
But so I think it'll be a testing tour for both sides, because many thought initially this is going to be, oh, India's just going there for having fun with the B team,
Yeah.
but it's really not, because for Sri Lanka, it's a very important tour because they're at home and India is sending a younger side, I'm going to say. They're all proven players. Can they at least, defend their honor? Because the last time the proper Indian team with Virat, Dhoni, when they went there, they whitewashed the Sri Lankan side at home in all three formats,
Yeah.
9-0.
Yeah.
So I don't think they want a repeat of that, but I don't see them putting up that big a fight as well. So it's going to be very interesting. The only thing left, I
Mm-hmm.
think, would be the T20s.
Mm-hmm.
And T20s, I think we just have a couple of changes, right? Which is Shaw coming in as the opener.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of Manish, because Manish has struggled in the IPL,
Yeah.
maybe instead of Manish at four, when you know that all you have to do is go and express yourself, maybe put Kishan in. Because I
Yeah.
think this is a chance, much like the 2007 World Cup that we won,
Mm-hmm.
it's sending all the youngsters out there, taking out, the experienced players, no matter their caliber, not doubting that, but just telling them, you know what, guys, 20 overs, go and express yourselves. We
Mm-hmm.
don't care what happens. Just play your best, give your best.
Yeah.
And we might see some great results.
Yeah. I think that I mean, your team is, I think for me, it's just like the same as mine, because I think that with when you have that kind of mentality, especially in T20 cricket, of just going out there and having that freedom, and I think that's one thing Rahul Dravid is. I was actually hearing an interview with Prithvi Shaw. He was talking when he was facing after the Australia series. He was facing a really rough time. He reached out to Sachin, he reached out to Dravid, and he was talking, and they never told him, "Oh, change the technique." It's all about the
Yeah,
mindset, because
mindset.
he's got the technique, he's got the right things. Maybe there might be a few flaws, but I think he knows his own mistakes and he can correct them. And
But
I
you
think
don't want
that's
to change someone's natural game.
exactly, yeah. So I think that's where just having that freedom and having the confidence. Okay, so we're going up against Sri Lanka. We can do this. We can, we can really. I think India have a great opportunity of going essentially, 6-0, whitewashing in both the ODI and the T20 series. So for me, I think I'm excited to see, which kind of some good some gems we could find in Indian cricket. But also, I'm just looking at who's going to be that person that's going to step up for Sri Lanka, because right now I don't know who that is. Like I'm not sure who that person is going to be for Sri Lanka,
Yeah,
and I think this is a great opportunity for Sri Lanka also to show, look, we are still a team to be taken seriously, and we can do our best to defend our home court. Yeah.
absolutely. So I think both teams, 13 July onwards, both teams have a lot to prove to
Yep.
themselves and to everyone out there.
Hmm.
So I think it'll be a very interesting tour. We'll follow it closely and definitely give our analysis on what happens or what
Yep.
can happen midway through the tour, maybe.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's it from us for this episode of Runs and Acceleration. Thank you everyone for tuning in. This is Ruhan and Akash, and we'll see you again soon.
All right. Thank you, everyone. See you. Bye bye.